while we're waiting for the MOT to be done, it's got to be a good excuse, hasn't it?
It's almost like a holiday.
Sorry?
It's almost like a holiday.
Oh, it is. So, coffee and cake. What have you got? Chocolate cake?
Yeah, chocolate fudge.
And I've got carrot cake. With a lovely view. Looking down the street.
Ulverston. Ulverston. Or am I thinking of Galveston? Ulverston's most famous son. One of the Ulverston's probably most famous sons. Might surprise some people watching. And we're going to show you him now, along with his screen partner. Sometimes I think Keith and I have been called the YouTube equivalents.
You might have a better idea who we're talking about when you read this next one.
You know who it is now? Well, he's got himself into a fine mess, hasn't he? Just close by to the statue, over there you've got the Laurel and Hardy Museum. Some interesting artifacts and stuff from them about their career. But we crossed the road from the statue now and we're just heading somewhere else to show you slowly. And this building across the road here was Ulverston Auction Mart. A little information plaque. Until 1878, cattle and other livestock were sold in the streets of Ulverston at the marketplace or the guild. And the practice caused frequent obstructions in the thoroughfares and in general was regarded as an offensive nuisance. The founding of the Auction Mart Company on this site created a more orderly and profitable way of doing business. And the company now operate on larger premises at Canal Head. Sometimes, again, We quite often say about looking up and you'll see interesting things on the streets. Sometimes wandering the back streets of a town or village, you'll come across interesting things. We've been to Ulverston on numerous occasions. Didn't know about that place. There again, we didn't know about the place we're going to next, so... So we're not too far from the sea, so there's plenty of seagulls around. And we walk this little bit further to come and see this place. Terraced house.
Number 3, Argyle Street.
Stan Laurel was born in this house on the 16th of June, 1890. Young lad from Ulverston, went to America and conquered the comedy world. So that is another fine mess. I think we need to go and find a coffee again now.
Sounds a good idea.
We're not far from the main road here, but we're just saying how quiet these back streets are. You can't hear the traffic noise really. Quite a nice little town.
If you just look up this alleyway here, the backs of the houses, you come up in the northwest, it doesn't half look like a typical back alley.
Back ginnel or whatever.
Ginnel. Let's look up there.
It's quite big for a Methodist church. A blue plaque. Information. In 1753, John Wesley, who crossed the sands to preach in Ulverston, wrote, "Few people came to hear my sermon, so I went quietly back to my room." By the end of the 18th century, a small Methodist society developed, meeting a cottage owned by Nancy Molster. And as it grew, the society purchased a large room in Neville Street and eventually built a chapel. From such humble beginnings, across this church opened in 1901. Arose this church, opened in 1901, then carefully refurbished in 1992. For a Methodist church, as I said a couple of minutes ago, it is really big.